Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know that it was a bit longer of a break than anyone would like, but that is because we have so many amazing games that are getting finished off before the bracket can be remade for round number 2. But we're ready for round number 2. We are setting up game number 2, FSU Black versus BINX Sword. If you are a fan of either of these teams, shout them out on Twitter using the hashtag XLNC Esports or hashtag them, doesn't matter. Let us know in Twitch chat that you're fans of them. Before we get to that, we got to talk about the last game and how it ended, because my, oh my, it was a turnover. Welcoming back to the analyst desk is Diatropa and his amazing analytical 3000 IQ, calling so many of the draft champions that were picked and banned for this game number 1. I know that you could not have predicted how the end result would be, but tell me, were you shocked at how the end result was after having seen it played out?
I was a little bit surprised at the way that the way that things happened, and it was because of the way that the draft was played. Because I very much expected Bar to go a more passive route and take the Trundle instead, but instead they used the move that they used last week against Glacial, which was to take the Sejuani to try and force the Trundle, which I thought was, oh my gosh, that's really exciting. They have something really like a playstyle that they want to try. Really like the Gangplank from the top lane, because it provided them with the extra damage that I had hoped to see. But then seeing that play out in reality, it looked like, especially early game, that even though they forced a Trundle, that the laners weren't necessarily prepared for the ganks that the Trundle would bring, which was odd. And so I think that going into it, I was really surprised, because I felt like Bar took the draft and did something really exciting with it, and they were responded to really well by God Squad. But I don't feel like they got exactly the chance to execute in the way that they would have liked, due to just maybe small misplays that took away their confidence going into the mid game.
Yeah, I think especially that one misplay around the Infernal Drake, in which the Drake was kind of behind them, just pumping damage into those carries of Takes Names, a Basket of Knives, leaving the rest of the tank frontline to God Squad, just kind of tearing them apart from the frontline perspective. And so when you kind of get squashed between those two damage dealers of the Infernal Drake and the entire enemy team in one very crowded corner in which you can't really escape, followed up with an incredible Petrify from Zizovic, honestly probably the carry of the team, even though when you look at the stats, it says rapid fire 17 kills. What a champ, what a player, this guy's totally carrying the game. I think it was mostly the positioning and timing of Zizovic paired with Solheim being totally happy to just run face first in the enemy team, looking to just smack them down and tank for his entire team. He has 7 deaths, the highest of his entire team. Pairing with the damage that Zizovic was doing really was that carrying factor for God Squad. So we don't regularly do this, but if you had to pick an MVP from the God Squad lineup for that game, who would you pick, Diatropa?
I think that, if I had to pick an MVP, I think it would have to be either Zizovic or Solheim. And I'm going to go with Solheim because of the amount that he made happen early game for his team. He was really able to be a force on the map. You saw him appear in bot lane and then moments later be involved in a fight around Rift Herald. And I really liked the mobility from him, knowing where he needed to be. And then I think it takes a special kind of courage to know that you're going to die and do it for your team, especially that fight where he walked into the mid lane, absorbed all of the ultimates from Bar, and then let his team run over them from the grave. I think that kind of putting your team ahead of you is really what makes the MVP.
Beautiful. Well, we got our MVP from last game, but now we have to rotate to look at this current game, because we were talking about behind the scenes on the analyst desk what your top 4 teams to look at were. And hey, guess what? We got 2 teams from the top 4 facing off against each other for our game number 2. It's BINX Sword, a classic team here at XLNC, usually a semifinals contender, and FSU Black, who consistently over the last several weeks have just seemed to be looking better and better as they've kind of found their niche way of playing League of Legends.
Yeah, I'm really excited for these 2 teams, and I know that we got to see both of them also participating in lightweight testing last week. And so I think that seeing how they've evolved based on that will be really important. And the reason that these are my 2 teams to watch is because I feel like they have such different win conditions that their draft and their players have the strengths to make happen, but they're on totally different sides of the map. I'm expecting FSU to try and do something through bot lane, and for BINX to try and force the top lane to be the weak side for FSU. So if both teams can play to their win condition, they can both get what they want, and it's up to see who executes that better.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you, and you already read my mind like you've read so many of these teams, was which, kind of along the lines of which player would you say to keep your eyes on most. But that's actually where we can go in just a little bit deeper, as we're just about to jump into Pro Draft for these two teams, is if you had a player to pick from each team that you would want to highlight as your interest to watch, which player would it be?
I think that if we're going to be looking at a player on each team, I think Nihilator, the ADC for SFU, is going to be a real pressure point that they can push at in draft and perhaps even in game. And then I think that I need to be looking at Durja and what he can make happen for Darkstar, because Darkstar is going to be wanting to extend, but so much of the safety in the top lane comes from that jungle, and he has a really nice jungle pool to work with to make that happen. So I think Durja Nihilator is what I'm looking at.
Fantastic. Well, we're excited to get your analysis when it comes to it throughout the Twitch chat, which all of you in Twitch chat are welcome to join in as well, breaking down these teams, their compositions, what you think about the game as it goes on. We love to see what your thoughts are there. Diatripa, thank you so much. I do have to ask one more thing of you as we send you off, is give us which team you think is going to win pre-draft. Because then I want to ask you after draft. Which team do you think is going to win?
Pre-draft, I think that we get an FSU win. That's my
really? All right. I actually think Big Sword, and I'll explain that in a moment. But thank you so much, Diatropa. We're going to send over to the caster desk, which includes myself. Well, we're going to welcome back Arza Kelly as we are launching into the pro draft for this game number 2. FSU Black taking on BINX Sword. Quickly shouting out as well, oh my goodness, Alicia with a second community sub gift. Thank you so much for that. You are supporting XLNC in a massive, massive way. We got a lot of hydrate and posture check pings coming out as well, which is great for me because I talk too much, which means I need to drink a lot. And then I get way too hyped, which means I don't sit up straight and correctly and have good breathing posture. But we are ready for our game number 2. Arza Kelly, welcome back. Have you had any chance to look at these two teams from last week?
So I have been looking at them just a little bit, not too much. I don't want to spoil it for myself, but really that's Diatropa's job over there. You know, Aphelios has that 200 years, but he's got that 3,000 IQ.
I love it.
But right now, what I really kind of want to see here is, I'm going to disagree with him a little bit. I favor BINX a little bit more. But only if we get to see something fun happening in the bot lane. But right now, I think we're getting started on some bans here. We got Jarvan the 4th coming down.
Yep, Jarvan taken away. Echo also knocked out. So both teams focusing in taking away those strong early game junglers, though Echo does echo his way into the mid game as well. Great assassin there. Could also be flex picked to mid lane, and that's usually why you see them getting kind of taken away or picked up, excuse me, if you're a team that wants to play him, is he makes a great flex pick in the early game. You also have Zed, not a common champion to see being taken out. BINX Sword happy to pick away these more priority and comfort picks from FSU Black, put them on something they're not quite as comfortable with, so they grab themselves the Zac for the jungle. Hey, I know we just had Slingshot in the last game. Maybe he's carrying on the title. Swagasm will pick up Zac for this game for FSU Black.
Yep, and I think we just shaved off a couple of IQ points there from Diatropa, because actually he had expected Zac to be one of the first bans out of FSU, not one of the first picks, though he did expect them to pick Caitlyn, but that was already banned away. Volibear coming down from BINX Sword. I love me some Volibear, especially after all of the nice buffs and the rework. He's so much fun to play and so much fun to watch get those picks. I'm expecting him in the top lane, but we might see a little bit of jungle here.
Oh, you hurt Diatropa so badly. You could see it in Twitch chat. He's crying now because you called him out on that. But he's got an opportunity to get those IQ points back with the rest of the picks and bans. We'll see. But seriously, Diatropa, you're amazing. As Morgana gets picked up, another very nice flex from BINX Sword. They can take that Morgana into the mid lane or rotate into the bottom lane supportive role. By picking up that support, though, it means FSU Black have to pick up these next two fairly blind if they want to try to get those carry rolls, which is why they're going to grab that Ezreal, one of the safest ADC picks in the bottom lane. They probably will go with a support next themselves, try to match that likely Morgana. Ooh, and another flex support, the Karma, mid lane or bot lane options as well.
Oh, I'm not really sure I like the Karma pick just yet because I'm not sure what FSU wants to do with it. I'm not sure Zach needs Karma. It could be nice behind Zach, but I'm not sure I'm liking the Karma pick just yet. I need to see a bit more out of FSU before I think that's justified. But I do like that Morgana pick out of BINX Sword a lot because right now FSU I'm gonna say it. I don't think Karma's going to be support. I think that's going to be mid lane. And right now Morgana can be either or, and we'll see Wait, no. It looks like the pro draft is glitching on us. It looks like they actually meant to pick Yasuo, not ban him. So it's a Yasuo pick there instead of a Karthus. That looks like it's going to be their mid lane.
Interesting. So they pick the Yasuo, and then they ban away the Xerath. So, well, welcome to Pro Draft. It has its own little bit of issues there. The main thing to keep in mind is that it was Yasuo picked by BINX, which was something that we actually, Diatropa was, I think, talking about. I have to scroll down and double check the information that he graciously gave us casters as to these teams, and we're kind of covering a lot of things on his analysis. By the way, you should go sub to him because he's incredible and amazing. I want to say that Yasuo was one of the champions that he was kind of thinking that FSU Black might play, and that it was kind of counter-picked against them. No, I'm not seeing it in the mid lane at all. It's just Echo Victor Xerath Zed, which is why that Xerath was banned away against them, and the Echo banned as well. Yumi, the next ban, pinching that bottom side, another protective champion for the Ezreal pairing, as you're saying. Maybe that Karma goes mid lane as Lucian gets taken away from FSU Black, limiting the ADC role. I expect BINX to pick the ADC now and leave their jungle for last because it is such a flexible role as to where it wants to carry through, but they could also just leave ADC for the very end.
Yep, and it looks like it's going to be Galio there. So where's Yasuo going and where's Galio going? I'm a little bit confused at this cop right now. Because that's 3 mid lane champions picked out by BINX. Morgana, Yasuo, and Galio. That kind of tells me Morgana is support, Yasuo's mid lane, Galio is where? Top? That's a little bit of an odd composition to me.
Yeah, it's likely that it's going to be Galio mid lane, Yasuo top. I don't know, this is very confusing because, no, if it's Volibear top, and Volibear can jungle, don't get me wrong, he definitely can jungle. Actually, out of all these options, it's most likely that it's Volibear jungle, and then Galio and Yasuo can be kind of switched up whether they're going top or mid. I know that I personally like Galio mid lane better because of his ultimate can reach top or bottom side much faster than if he's in top side. He can really only kind of roam quickly into mid lane, and it's not quite as flexible, but I definitely would favor just champion to champion Yasuo mid lane over the Galio mid lane for wave clear and safety and all those sorts of reasons. So there are definitely some question marks.
What's going on with these compositions?
Okay.
I'm so confused!
Reset, everyone. Let's start all the way over. It's going to be a Morgana support with a Yasuo bot lane. No, let me rephrase this one more time. This is my bold prediction for BINX Sword. Nautilus support, Yasuo ADC, Morgana mid lane, Volibear jungle, Galio top. There it is. That's what I got.
This is such a weird composition, and I'm not sure I can wrap my head around what it's supposed to do here. A Yasuo ADC against Ezreal? That's your master plan? That's a little bit weird to me. Well, and on the other side, we've got Gangplank and Kled. Where is Kled going? mid lane? No, that doesn't make sense.
You used to be cool.
Okay, so to double check and make sure that everyone's on the same page, the pro draft did break. We got confirmation in the actual League of Legends client that the Karthus is actually a Yasuo pick, and that the Yasuo ban is a Xerath ban. So just so you all are aware, the Karthus is a Yasuo pick for BINX Sword, and the Yasuo ban is a Xerath. Welcome to Pro Draft. It has issues, it breaks. So there you go. Can you get the Pro Draft? Sure, but you're probably just going to be as confused as all of us are as well. So fun stuff there. We haven't even gotten a chance to talk about FSU Black and how they've grabbed themselves the Gangplank and the Kled, both top lane champions that you also wouldn't expect to see being picked up in the same game as everything else that you've got going on here. So fun stuff there as well. I'm expecting that, as you kind of see now, the Kled is in the top lane, Zac in the jungle, Gangplank in the mid lane, and Karma Ezreal bot. But that means we have a Gangplank mid lane, which makes things even
Whoa, what? Where's Morgana? In the jungle?
No, for BINX Sword, it's... hold on a moment now.
What in the... Okay,
the client picks and bans, and Morgana's been picked for the jungle role if they are in LCS order.
Okay, hey, do you know what I have in my hand right now?
A D20, because you're rolling whether or not this is actually real life.
No, I have the rule book. There it goes. I've thrown it out. I have no expectations going into this game. I don't know that anybody can have expectations going into this game. I don't know that this is even a game of League of Legends right now. I don't know anything. I'm coming in blank slate, tabula rasa right now. I don't know anything.
Alright, so we're just going to mask over all the champions super quickly, and we're going to cast a Pokemon MMO, or MOBA game, because that's what's being happening right now. Nobody knows anything. Gangplank's mid lane versus Galio. Morgana potentially jungling. Love the chat coming out as everyone's freaking out. This has been so wild. But we love seeing it anyway. So, if I had to make a assumption, right? I do still feel like it is a lane swap, because Morgana as a jungle just does not make a lot of sense without a ton of help from these other lanes. So it's possible that you still have Morgana, Durja, and Darkestar swapping in-game. They are allowed to actually lane/role swap. So Morgana is still allowed to go top lane, and Volibear is allowed to go into the jungle. We'll see once we actually get through the client bans and get into the spectator game what summoner spells that they have, which will confirm or deny some of that. If Morgana is a jungler, the coming out of the jungle with Dark Binding, super strong. The actual clearing of the jungle, I just don't see it. How do you solo clear quickly and efficiently red buff, blue buff, raptors, and all those sorts of things? I just don't get it.
I think this game has broken me. I feel like I'm broken inside. I can't get a coherent thought made about either of these compositions, and I think for the first time in my life, I'm going into a semi-pro game, and the lock-in, the champion lock-in, has not told me anything about how this team is expecting to play this. Because Morgana, like you said, it could be a lane swap, or we could legitimately see a Morgana in the jungle. I'm not sure which is worse right now. Pulling your top lane into the jungle role, hopefully they've prepped that, and this is a double secret upside down Hungry Hippos 3D chess move.
That's awesome.
Or you are legitimately drafting Morgana for the jungle.
Let's assume for now that Morgana's in the jungle, and we'll go with that information until we're actually in game, because there's still so many more other things to talk about as well. The Yasuo bot lane paired with the Nautilus, the Karma and Ezreal bot lane with Gangplank mid, Kled in the top lane, and we haven't even talked about the compositions total and what their goals are for winning this game, and we're running out of spectator delay time. So let's start off by introducing the teams with the best information that we have. FSU Black has got Armin 54-6 with the Kled in the top lane, Swagasm in that jungle on the Zac, the Jordran on the Gangplank in the mid lane, Nihilator with the Ezreal, potential carry in the bot lane role, and Viathan GWC on that Karma bottom lane supportive role.
And over on the side of BINX Sword, we have Darkstar coming in with the Volibear. Morgana is being played by Durja. Wangfire is playing Galio. Wombat on the Yasuo, and Bohus Jr. on the Nautilus. And I'm still so confused. I'm
Let's
broken.
start with the easier one. Let's start with the easier one with FSU Black, all right? So they've got a very strong ganking jungler. He's a little bit slow in the early game, but once he gets going, once he gets a single tank item, he can be incredibly hard to kill. I'm expecting TPs on the Kled, maybe on the Gangplank, maybe even on the Ezreal as well, so lots of protection if he does get turned into those little blobulets. We also have a very protective Karma, and what that to me says that you basically have a in for skirmishing composition. Kled and Gangplank both can split. It's a strong 1-3-1 composition in which you have a very protective Karma with the Ezreal and the Zac for that mid lane or whatever lane it is they're trying to push, and then Gangplank and Kled both strong on the side lanes. But you also have incredibly good collapse where Kled can come charging it off to the side, Gangplank drops the ultimate, Karma speeds everyone forward, you all go in for a big 5v5 fight. With BINX Sword, you still have that Galio that can also collapse with a lot of strong CC from the Nautilus, paired with the Yasuo Last Breath ultimate, paired with the Morgana Dark Binding, paired with Volibear, who's just a CC monstrosity. So a lot of crowd control, but a bit more individual bruiser champions, whereas the only person who runs straight damage, typically speaking, would be the Yasuo. Everyone else either gets some sort of tankiness or some sort of utility, like the Morgana or the Nautilus.
All right. I think I'm finally processing these compositions. And so far, I do not like BINX Sword. I don't like it at all. I don't know why you would draft a Yasuo into an Ezreal. If he's not starting with the wall, that's going to be so abused early on, and his gold farm is going to be pretty low. On the other side, Gangplank in the mid lane kind of speaks to me that they want to put Karma behind the Gangplank and make him a surprise secret carry. I want to see that. I want to see Karma empowering Gangplank to run into team fights, which I don't really think this comp is meant for team fights. I think Gangplank's just kind of there to save them when they do get into team fights. So he'll run in, all empowered, Ezreal will be right behind him, Kled will be assisting the charge with his Tailwind, and we will see Gangplank tearing up some champions. I think that's what's going to happen.
We'll see if that actually gets locked down. We are
loading... carrying Smite! It's actually in the jungle! What is my life?!
I love it. Durja with the Smite. Does BINX Sword have the 10,000 IQ necessary to pull this wild strategy off? I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. For those of you that are watching this XLNC Esports stream, you will never see a game like this with a Morgana support at Pro Play. Ever. You just won't, right? So if you want crazy strats and wild gameplay, you come to XLNC Esports. If you want to see Corki versus Azir for the 10,000th time, you go watch Pro. This is where the real action is at. This is BINX Sword flashing, hooking. They're going into the Ezreal. Dark Binding as well. First blood to BINX Sword with the jungle Morgana.
Okay. I'm not sure what else I can say to this except for okay, because you're willing to burn the flash there and the ignite from Bohus. That's a lot of utility in the bot lane that they're just not going to have for the first couple minutes here. And at the same time, you're going to give the kill to Darkstar. That's a little bit of gold, a little bit of experience, and a whole lot of snowball potential in the top lane. He kind of needed that against Armin. And we're going to see Bohus even going forward to plant a ward, figure out where their opposing jungle is. Zac is finally getting out into the jungle right now. It's gonna have to be a hard leash though for Durja.
All right,
There's Morgana in the jungle. I'm still broken. There's
a lot of chat right now in the Twitch chat, but I haven't heard which team people truly support. I need me some hashtag BINX win or hashtag FSU win. Let me know who you think. Most importantly, Diatropa, I got to get your input now that you've seen the draft. If you still think that FSU is going to win this game or not, we're into the laning phase, starting off with that early kill going to Darkstar's Volibear in the top lane, running the Kled down right away. away, getting those smacks in with the big paws and trying to take over that lane. In the bot lane, as we've said, it's going to be rough for that Yasuo, at least until level 2 or 3 once he gets that wind wall up, and then he'll be a little bit more protected from that poke from the Ezreal.
Yeah, but he's doing a surprisingly good job with his farm right now. He's not falling behind in any marked way. Instead, in the top lane, it looks like there's a little bit of a divide starting there. Darkstar really being able to keep control over his lane. I'm very expectant on that Volibear. Ooh, but so far Boas he's missing a lot of hooks.
Yeah, but it's, sending out the threat. You can see that his mana pool is still fairly high, so he's not too concerned about if he misses a hook, it's not the end of the world. And against that bottom lane composition, once they hit levels 4, 5, 6 plus, it's nearly impossible to catch them, right? Because Ezreal's going to have the Arcane Shift, Karma's going to have the Monster Shield, so it's going to be much, much more difficult to actually hook them. So the early game is the better opportunity to be throwing those dredge lines out in the hopes that you do hook them, and you don't just get shoved underneath your turret. They haven't landed yet, so it's just going to be a bit more farming for them and kind of staying alive in that bottom lane up until they start to actually get some of the levels themselves. Mid lane. Ooh.
Oh, it looks like Wang is going to move in. He gets a good taunt. Lots of damage down onto Jadrin. He just didn't have the mana to respond there. That's going to probably force it back, but it looks like we might get a gank here if Darkstar ever lets him move forward. And no, Durja is just going to back off a little bit. He was sitting on top of a ward, so they knew not to go forward. Swagasm is right there in the river. Didn't even want to mess with that.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind, let's watch where Durja is going, because it went from blue to wolves to raptors to red, now up to Krugs as well. Nice hook there from Boas.
Oh, there's the hook that we were waiting for. Boas gets it in. There's the ignite as well. Annihilator very far down. Wombat using his dashes in. Maybe that was the reason he goes up against an Ezreal. Those dashes could help him close the distance and actually make some kills, but instead, he's going to get ignited by that Viathan, but Annihilator had to burn both his flash and his heal there. Nice little push.
This is Zach.
Oh no! Swagasm just over the wall! Perfect bounce! And now Boas is caught out. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. He'll go down. 2 kills for Swagasm. That's a nice early lead on your jungler. Oh no, but Durja, he's up in the top lane now. He was waiting in the grass. Armin's going down so far, so fast, and it looks like Darkstar is going to get himself a second kill. You know what? Maybe Morgana can work in the jungle. Maybe. I'm so confused.
It's so funny. I died laughing when Swagasm came in because it wasn't a knock-up, it wasn't anything. It just the noise when Zach goes splat and just squashes the Yasuo like a bug. He just splat, back to the fountain he goes. Good timing, though, also allows for them to reset and grab the Drake as well. So first Drake going to go over to FSU, but top lane Volibear is going to become even more of a monster. He's already got those 1,000 pierced skin, so he looks like a monstrosity, and he is becoming a monstrosity in the top lane, especially a lane in which Kled really does need to be snowballing if he wants to be impactful in the mid game.
Yep, and we will see that first Cloud Drake go over. They got the gank, turned it directly into control. Very good of FSU. Just good focus right there. And actually, you were asking Diatropa for his opinion. He's actually saying that he is sticking with FSU right now. His faith is not shaken. He says that they need to be able to play the side lanes, and he loves the spice of the drafts.
Yep, it's pretty beautiful. Top lane, Kled. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. I want to do the play-by-play. He's just a color analysis, going in, pushing Darkstar back under his turret, trying to make sure to take over dominance in the top lane and give himself some breathing room, as you can see, to go out into the jungle. He didn't drop a ward, which is what I was expecting him to do, but I do want to see him getting some control wards and dropping those in that top side to make sure Morgana doesn't come up there and cause more problems. Durja is in the bottom lane, but so is this Zach.
Zach's actually going to back, though. Durja playing such a long game. This is exactly what he did in the top lane as well. He just waited in the bush. Zach's actually going to move in there, but Wombat's right there to punish it. Swagasm going down pretty far. Wombat slashing forward, trying to find the kill there. He's not able to. They had a really nice response there when Zach came in, but they weren't able to turn dollars into donuts.
Yep, can't actually get profit off of it, but you do at least stop that Zac from playing into the bottom side. And what I love about this is Diatropa called it when it came to the discussion in the analyst desk, was the FSU Black was going to focus on this bottom lane. Well, hey, guess what? Zac's visited bottom lane twice already. And where is it that BINX Sword is going to focus? Top lane, Volibear, 2-0. Now, Morgana did visit that bottom lane, mostly trying to make sure they can hit those level 6, where that wombo combo of ultimate out of Bohus and Wombat can really start to smash people, but it's about this early game for Morgana, just making sure the bot lane is safe until they get those ultimates.
Yep, and when we see some more ultimates coming in, it's going to be really interesting, especially in the bot lane. There's not only CC, but such great movement out of Wombat down there, and Bohus, of course, is just a CC machine. Karma has a little bit, but it's going to be up to Nihilator to make the outplays there when that crowd control starts coming in. And it looks like Swagasm is actually looking at that top lane as well. Darkstar's in a weird position. He might be able to get something happening there.
Yep, he's visiting at least. Darkest Star is around the corner, though, should catch out Swagasm. They'll see each other and immediately kind of start to back away. Wait, Zac is here, still going to go over the wall, but I don't think he wants to invade on this. Here comes Kled, so a team fight should break out.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tailwind. Kled is coming in. Durja and Wangfire are able to respond. We see the spell shield come down on a Darkstar, but they're actually just going to disengage, burning Armin's ultimate. So good job there, I guess. Darkstar now in a much better position.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry too much in the solo 1v1 against Kled, but the other thing is that Kled, generally speaking, doesn't use his charge in a 1v1. It's more about grouping for team fights and having the relief of pressure.
And he is going to get burned down a little bit here.
This is the second slam!
Darkstar going into Armin.
Yep, I love it. Dunk in the bot lane, Swagasm belly flopping. Dunk in the top lane, Stormbringer from Darkest Star. Dunk in the mid lane, they're looking for Galio.
Yep, Wangfire having to flash away there. He is going to get an Ignite popped on him from Jadrin, but it's not going to take him down. Jadrin takes a little bit of damage there, burns the Ignite when he didn't really need to. His flash was also burned, so Wang actually coming out of that not too bad there.
Not too bad, but his health is incredibly low. Forced to back away, doesn't have TP to get back out to lane quickly, and it gives Jadran a little bit of time to push out this mid lane, roam if he wants to, but he's already burned the ultimate, so not expecting him to, mostly just resetting that mid lane. Main thing I want to note is now that Sixes are coming through, that Galio ultimate is going to be something you have to keep your eyes on, because if a big fight happens in bot or top side, that Galio can quickly rotate and join the fight, and these objectives are going to start rolling in as well. Rift Herald up on the map as Swagasm is already up there, starting to clear that away, and a Mountain Drake up in about 20 seconds.
And see, that's kind of the problem there with Durja in the jungle. You're a Morgana. How are you going to try and contest those objectives if your team isn't right there to help you immediately? All you can do is slow it down a little, and he's going to decide not to even check it. That Rift Herald's going to go down as soon as it comes up here. I think that was a 20-second Rift?
Yep, quickly picked up by Swagasm in the side of FSU Black. There's that Galio ultimate in the bot lane.
Got a good hook on a Boas there, and there's the hero dive. Viathan looking very low. Wangfire's going to get that kill as Wombat dashes in. Nihilator extremely low. Wombat manages to get out of there, though. Nihilator has to back off or face the consequences.
I'm surprised Bohus didn't flash Dredge line. At least the attempt would have forced Nihilator to either be hooked and die or try to find some way to slip out. But unfortunately, everyone kind of backed away thinking that someone else had the last auto.
He's going to try and find Wombat there. He's pulling him in, and that's a lot of damage coming down. We've got teleports coming in from Darkstar, though. Bohus so low. He's going to get saved by the spell shield as Darkstar comes in. He's hunting down Jordan with Durja. He's actually going to flash around to try and get at him. Jordan manages to get into the pit. He'll get away. Here's another teleport. Armin's coming in. There he is. He's going to find Durja on the backline as Viathan comes in. Wangfire trying to save them both. Here's Darkstar. He's going to manage to get Armin off, and Boas gets a nice hook on him. Durja's actually going to get the kill with his little bit of a terrain there as Swagasm keeps putting down damage. Darkstar has to jump into them to save the rest of his team as they run away. Wangfire now very low. He's actually just going to move into it, but Swagasm's going to get that kill. It's a 1-for-3 in the bot there!
Yep, insane. Unfortunately, BINX they were so split up on what they wanted to do. Some of them were trying to go for Drake. Some of them were trying to start a fight. Some of them were trying to escape the fight. And no one actually pulled the trigger as a cohesive team on what to do. And while Darkest Star did have that Stormbringer, it was way too late. They're trying to fight for Drake.
Yep, Boa's coming in. Wombat got way too low. I don't know what they were thinking there. They're just gonna get deleted. Double kill going over to John. Here's Georgia for some reason. He has to pop the spell shield so early. He's getting chased down by Annihilator. Okay. I don't know why you did that, buddy.
There was no reason for BINX to go for that play. They, I suppose, had the brain concept of, hey, maybe they'll be so low that they will be burnt down by the Mountain Drake and we can pick off some spicy people when they're sitting at 20% HP or something along those lines. But it was a mixture of a desperation play and being unnecessarily confident. Now, they're not too far behind. It's only a 2,000 gold lead, even with the double Drakes and Rift Herald that FSU has been able to control so far, but that doesn't mean the game is over yet. We still have yet to see Durja really be impactful on this Morgana besides that one gank in the top lane and the disengagement in the bottom lane, but when it comes to the group 5v5 fights, that's where we haven't seen one of these teams really come out yet.
Yep, and I gotta correct you there real quick. It's not even a full 1,000 gold lead. It's just on the brink there. They're bringing it back very nicely, and we're actually going to see Darkstar roaming down to the mid lane here. Wants Jadran, and all we got to do is wait for Wang to bring him up. He's actually going to go in on the taunt there. Jadran's going to get away, flash a little bit of an emote, like, oh, you thought of me. How sweet. And in the bot lane, there's going to be a little bit of action, but again, nothing really happens. Actually, Durja's going to move in there. He's going to get found out by the ward, though.
Well, the side of BINX need to make a play somewhere. They need to actually start something. And while Darkest Star is super strong at the top lane with this Volibear, you can see that they're prioritizing this bot lane. They want to shove that turret down. The plates have fallen off, so they're not going to get that extra bonus gold, but they might be able to maybe start something in the mid lane. But it seems like everyone is collapsing, and Fire's going to be in a bit of trouble with multiple members of FSU around the corner. If they engage in a fight, they're going to try to start it up themselves.
Yep,
though.
It's a 3v3 here in the mid lane. Boas is going to miss the hook. And now that they know that Wombat's alone on the bot side, he's getting a little bit of harassment there too. But neither team actually wants to make a full push here. Durja trying to find a little bit of a route or something. The Rift Herald did go off and did get his slap, but it's actually going to be Darkstar in the top lane. He kept his cool, didn't try to follow Armin down. He's going to get that first turret. But here we go. There's some movement. Armin moves in. He's going to get a lot of damage, and Jadran is actually going to be able to finish off Durja. Boas gets a nice hook in, but he's not able to help Wang actually clean up any damage there. And now we're actually going to see Darkstar coming down, but he was spotted by a ward, so they're all actually just going to back off here as Wombat tries his best to defend his turret.
Yep, and there's still a fight in the bot lane, though.
He moved in way too far. Here's Boas to back him up. The Ignite was popped onto him. His death was assured. That was a bit too much, too fast for no reason. I'm not sure why Wombat moved in there. Boas is right there with him, and he's actually going to hook out Annihilator as Darkstar comes in, but Nile is going to be able to get out of it. He doesn't have a heal right now, and here's Swagasm as Niles goes down. He's actually going to come in. Darkstar going to put in the business there on Viathan, push him back as Boas holds Swagasm off. Darkstar has to move back now as well. Swagasm could have moved in on that, but he decides not to. Bit too much crowd control there. He's just going to clean up some minions.
They take out Ezreal, but the Karma is so hard to actually kill because she constantly has those shields and extra movement speed. Even with the Stormbringer from Darkstar, they still couldn't actually shut this Karma down to 1-7 with 150 gold bounty. But I really think one of the carries that you're seeing from FSU is that Jadran in the mid lane, the Gangplank, with that Trinity Force already completed, there's no way that Galio's going to kill him in the 1v1. So instead you have this Gangplank who's just been silently farming and farming and farming, picking up items, and he is going to be way more powerful when it comes to either split pushing or skirmishing than a Galio is, who even with a proto build is trying to build a little bit of extra damage for his team, but kind of them leaving his team a little bit empty-handed outside of Nautilus for a tanky front line.
Yep, and we will see FSU gathering around the Rift Herald here. as we do see a switch coming in from the side of BINX Sword. Their bot is now their top, and their top is now their bot, and they're moving in to try and contest this Rift Herald. Here's Durja and Wombat on the way in. They're going to get found, and Durja's going to get popped out very easily. Galio's going to make a hero's dive in, but he's going to get found by Armin's Tailwind right there. Wang is now trying to stay alive as Wombat comes in to try and do some damage. Wombat's going to go down to Viathan on the back line, and Wang he can't even run. He will just die. I don't know what happened here. Well, I kind of do. There's a Morgana in the jungle.
Yeah, and mostly it wasn't even the Morgana, if you will. I think, honestly, well, hold on, we might see the 1v1 as Annihilator in a bit of trouble. Okay, there he goes.
Yep.
A lot of the trouble in that fight around the Rift Herald was the fact that your timing was not that great from the Galio ultimate and the Yasuo ultimate. You saw the Galio come in, 4 members knocked up, huge hero's entrance, perfect opportunity for Wombat to get a 4-man last breath. But what does he do? He's out of range. He's not in position for it. Then when he does come into position, the Galio can only knock up 1 person with the Justice Punch, which means there's only 1 person for Yasuo to hit. And Yasuo, he is so far behind right now. 0-5 in this bottom lane. Drake goes the way of FSU Black, but at BINX, they might be desperate to fight for it.
Yep, we've got some teleports coming down. Armin and Darkstar. It's actually going to go over pretty quickly to Boas here. He's getting the first kill. Swagasm tries to get over the wall, but he's just not able to. Going to take a lot of damage right there as Wangfire does manage to taunt in Jordan. He gets back to the turret, and Darkstar's actually going to lead the charge in under the turret there. Swagasm going to jump in behind them, find Durja once more. He's going to go down very quickly, and now it's going to be Armin. He's got so much fire on him, but Wangfire, Darkstar, Wombat, they're all low. Swagasm, he's going to sail in over the sky, get that kill. Wombat determined to try and get something out of it, but no, Armin is going to get him when he tries to come in. Another just kind of a sloppy engage there. Another just kind of not able to close it out fight. They keep making some decent plays, but it's just not enough against this FSU team.
It's not coordinated. I mean, you have a champion, the Volibear, whose ultimate literally turns turrets off. If you want to dive as 4, fantastic. The problem is Darkest Star burned it solo against the Ezreal earlier, so it wasn't available for this dive. And then you have multiple members of BINX Sword behind enemy lines between 2 turrets with a gangplank cannon barrage slamming down on top of them as their health bars are dwindling to nothing. It's just some really rough decisions. Now, they've kept the game Fiesta enough that they're only down about 3,000 gold. When the game is so Fiesta, usually you end up losing a member here or there, and you can see that on the members of FSU Black. Only 2 people remain deathless, both with some huge bounties on their heads, and I don't expect that to be the case for the entirety of this game, as long as it stays kind of active in that Fiesta mode. But it's on the brink of disaster for BINX if FSU finds that one fight that allows them to snowball the end of the game.
Yep, and we will see a little bit more split pushing coming out of Darkstar. He knows his place in the meta, and he's going to go for it. But you were just talking about bounties. You know who one of those bounties is on? Jodrin. And currently, the chat is a little bit obsessed with him. It's getting a little weird pog in there.
Yeah, it's exciting. And you know what? If I got fans, that's totally cool. And I love seeing all of you guys freak out about both Jodran and getting those kind of spam chat and cheers going on for these players as well. Because you know that they know that you guys are watching and cheering them on. And Jodran has definitely done some incredible work in this game. But there's definitely no shame in cheering on Swagasm as well. This Zac, who started things off spicy in the bot lane, popping Wombat early, then rotating into the mid lane, doing the same thing there. He's just been all over the map, setting up these plays, being aggressive, and allowing his team to feel a little bit more safe about looking for these plays, because the Zac is so hard to kill that he can initiate something and then they choose whether or not they want to engage or disengage, because they have the Gangplank and Karma to get them out if they don't want to fight. Looks like they're going to go fight.
They're going to find Durja out in the jungle. He's going to take so much damage off of that, but he is going to be able to get away, thanks in part to Wombat putting on a little bit of pressure there. But Swagasm just knows exactly where he needs to be at all times. The wards in the jungle helped as well.
Hashtag Jod Squad jumping in, looking for Derja. Hasn't able to get that kill just yet, though. Obviously, 5 deaths says that Morgana has been caught out a couple of times before. But when you are able to get some more pressure, you open up the mid game or the mid area of the map. You now control by getting some wards in the main team jungle. There is Baron up and available, but I really think that they're kind of waiting around for the next Drake to show up in about a minute, because that's when they get the Ocean Drake soul, and that makes everyone on the side of FSU's life so much easier because they can skirmish to their heart's desire, back away, and heal. And a lot of people believe the Ocean Soul is the strongest soul in the game.
Skirmishing. Here they go. 2 ults pop. Swagasm gonna come over the wall as Armin charges in. Jodrin, he's just gonna stand there. He's a bro. He's gonna take the turret shots for his team as they take Darkstar out so quickly.
The Volibear is strong, but he's not 1v3 strong, especially against the power of the 3 members that are probably the most fed if you're looking at FSU on that top side. So that opens up the top Baron for them, and it might just be a trade of objectives. The Ocean Soul to BINX, who hasn't picked up a single Drake this game, for the free Baron for FSU. They are going to go ahead and start it up. We'll see if they decide to actually fully commit and grab that, because it seems like that's the plan. Just trade objectives and use the Baron to grab these last exterior turrets.
Yeah, that Baron's going a little slow, though, and you've got to be wondering on the side of BINX Sword, you've got to be a little suspicious by now. They're not appearing on any wards, they didn't try to get the Ocean Soul. Where are they? But it looks like that curiosity is not going to turn into action. They're going to get Baron here, and back up. And now we can expect to see some very nice items coming down. Yep, we see him. We see an Essus Reader coming out for Jodrin. He's now up to 2.5 items himself. We see 2.5 items on Annihilator as well, getting that nice set of gloves along with the Muramana. He's got it fully upgraded already. The only person with 2 items on the side of BINX Sword is Darkstar in the top lane. He's got his Triforce and his Sunfire Cape, but that's not really going to be enough to fight against all of what FSU is bringing to the table.
Yeah, you can tell that I'm not super familiar with doing color casting when I go 24 minutes into a game without mentioning items, so thank you so much for filling in our Zakeli and doing that for me. Usually myself, Jake Kelton, is on the play-by-play role, but exactly as you're saying, the items are coming through for BINX, but it's just late. A lot of them only have 1 to a half item extra completed, even that Yasuo, Phantom Dancer, and Aegis of a Legion, right? This is your carry. This is your ADC as a melee champion. This is the guy who's supposed to be in just taking your team in for the victory, and he has almost nothing in his inventory. Compare that to the Ezreal, who already has the Iceborne Gauntlet completed Muramana, as well as a thrift store of extra items to top it all off. There's just so much gold and stats that BINX Sword is behind. They now need to look for the miracle play, right? And it's going to be more difficult. They're up against the Baron. They have to wait this out. There's still the opportunity for the next Ocean Drake for FSU to pick up Dragon Soul. So it's a difficult position, but one of the ways that they can get back in is if Derja finds the best and most miraculous Dark Binding you've ever seen onto this Ezreal, setting up the Nautilus. Well, not even really Ezreal. I'd actually rather see it on the Gangplank. But if you can chain the CC of the Dark Binding into Nautilus Ultimate, into Yasuo Ultimate, you at least guarantee one person's death, and then you may be able to snowball the 5v4 into an actual winning lane, as Volibear is in trouble top lane.
Yep, he is. Oh no, he saw it coming a little bit from some wards. He was able to get out of the way, and now the only thing in danger is that top lane turret. Derja still in the jungle, just trying to get some buffs, get some camps going. Like you were saying, there's so many people on the side of FSU that you need to pick out with that little Dark Binding. Derja gonna find Armin there. That's one of them. You could also find Swagasm. He's been doing so well in the team fights. You could also find Jodrin, who has just been a bro the entire game. You could also try to find Annihilator, who has by far the most damage done this game, I'm sure, but any one of them would help. But just taking one of them is not going to stop this FSU machine right now. You need to find 2 of them at least in order to have a chance, I think.
Well, they have been able to successfully delay this Baron pushing into grabbing any of these inhibitor turrets. A lot of sieging in this mid lane, but they haven't been able to actually crack that inhibitor turret yet. It is on a timer, though. It's only a matter of time before that turret will eventually collapse. But they've at least survived one Baron siege, only losing that bottom side exterior turret. I think they lost the top side turret as well. Yes, 6 turrets are over to FSU Black, so they are currently owning all of the jungle and all of the map. But at some point, you're going to start to see some of these recalls come through as they have to back and buy with a massive amount of gold that all of them are sitting on. Almost 2,000 for most of the members, 1,200 for the Zac, 1,600 for the Ezreal, sitting in those inventories. And now you can see they're starting those recalls to disappear, giving BINX Sword a very, very slim moment to breathe.
You know what? I'm actually going to reverse my earlier confusion and just breaking down. I don't think Durja playing Morgana is a terrible choice. I don't think so. Wombat on Yasuo, however, has proven to be. He's 0-6-2. He hasn't been able to get a single kill yet. And it's kind of showing in the team. He's the frailest. He's always moving in, putting down as much damage as he can. But he is one of the first to die, usually right after Durja. And ooh, that was a nice arrow coming out of Ezreal. And now Swagasm's gonna come in behind them. We've got the tailwind from Armin. They're focusing down Wang. And on the backside, Wang actually is going to be able to get a kill on Leviathan. Durja is trying to chase down Annihilator. Armin is going to be able to find Boas, but right now, this looks like that miraculous fight we were talking about. Oh no! Annihilator's gonna take down Wang before he's able to make the jump, and now Darkstar and Wombat have to run. While Darkstar's not running so much, he's taking Armin on by himself. Swagasm's gonna come in. Here's Durja. They're both chasing down their own targets. Durja is gonna get himself a kill onto Armin. Swagasm's gonna get found by Wombat, and Wombat will be able to find his... No, not a kill yet. Annihilator's actually going to find Darkstar, and now, no, Wombat goes down. I was so hyped to see him get a kill. Durja's going to get Annihilator. It's a one-on-one. Jungler v. Jungler. They're going to choose to disengage. What a fight!
It's not a supportal combat, it's jungler combat. Swagasm wants to at least clear the vision, but Durja's not quite going to let them. Look at the supports running out, trying to rejoin the fight as Boas finds that hook onto the Zac. The fighting's not over just yet.
Nope, we've got the Karma Shield coming down. Durja's not able to compete with that Swagasm. He's just gonna chase him down, and Leviathan's gonna pop the Ignite onto him. Boas is right there, but he can't contest an Ocean Soul. It's gonna go the way of FSU, and I think with this we can say so goes the game. If they weren't dominant before, they will be now. Time of death, everybody. 29-31 as the Ocean Drake goes down and the Ocean Soul is delivered to FSU.
Yep, and it was off of a very, very close fight from BINX Sword. Actually had a moment in which it looked like it was the miracle play. A lot of that was based off of the Jodren getting a little bit too deep into the fight, and Darkstar doing an incredible job of absorbing the pressure from basically 3 people. Durja just throwing down all of these black shields, keeping the Darkstar Volibear alive, and then you saw Wombat just running away from Ezreal. Annihilator sectioned off for most of that fight, chasing down this Yasuo. So, unfortunately, Wombat didn't deal a whole lot of damage as Ezreal was chasing him all over the map, but it did split up FSU Black enough that BINX Sword had a chance to actually fight it all out. But in the end, Swagasm is just so nearly impossible to kill. 6-0-13. I mean, huge credit still to Jodran, too. This guy is insane on the gangplank. But the FSU Black members are going to be, as you said, even more impossible to take down. Now they've got the Ocean Drake as well.
Yep, and right now they're looking at the Baron, and for some reason Darkstar is trying to split push the bot lane. Their wards are going down so fast, I don't know why he thinks he's going to get a teleport in, but he can't even think about that right now, because here is the engage. Darkstar actually did get his teleport in. Here he is. We've got Wangfire on the backline. Wombat's going to get his first kill onto Jodren. And we've got a nice little engage here. Wang is going down really low, though. And so is Darkstar. Armin's actually going to find Wangfire. And no, he's going to find Boas as well. Durja's going to go down. That's a double kill for Annihilator. And now they're chasing Wombat all the way back to the Nexus, and they're not even gonna bother with the Baron. They're gonna push it down mid.
All right, that fight was won by Drakesol. I don't care what you say. The fighting was so even, and Darkest Star was popping people with that Stormbringer ultimate in the middle of the entire enemy team. And the Wombo from BINX Sword is as good as you're ever going to get. But the healing coming through, both passive and actual healing on FSU Black, is just nearly impossible to actually get damage through. Unfortunately, BINX Sword, they didn't give themselves enough damage, and that means that they're going to lose the fight and lose the game as well. But well fought from both sides.
We actually are going to see one last push here. No. I thought maybe, but Armin kept whacking away at the Nexus.
Yep, congratulations to FSU Black for a huge game, and BINX Sword for really taking them on at every turn. Even when down 5,000 gold, they still nearly won a fight around the 4th Ocean Drake. I mean, that's just insane to be able to get to. And while the kills look like a one-sided stomp, the gameplay itself was nowhere near as easy to say.
Yep, and that one's just going to be... It didn't feel like a stomp, at least not in the early game, but as the game kept going forward, this one turned pretty quickly into a stomp. They only even managed to get 2 turrets. We end with a perfect 10k gold lead, 4 Drakes, 1 Baron, 2 Rift Heralds, and 15 more kills. I think that has all the hallmarks of a stomp here from FSU as they finish out this game.
Insane. And this is only game 2. We still have a finals game 3 coming up after this. There is so much to break down and discuss from this game, but I will leave that to the analyst desk that'll be coming up after a short break. Before we go, a huge thank you to the new people that are following as well. One, a cello, thank you so much for that as well. S. Slazing, thank you so much. Acelia, also, or I could say Neptune as well, one of the players in our events at XLNC, coming in with that community sub. Solheim with the follow as well. You guys have been insane. So much support. Hashtag Jod Squad. I love seeing it come out. If you're new to XLNC Esports, we run these Clash style tournaments for Monday, Tuesday, and soon we have our heavyweight league starting Thursday nights as well. Plus, we're getting into the amateur scene, doing broadcasting and casting for all the leagues out there. There's so many exciting things happening at XLNC. Consider dropping a follow, just so that you can check in the future into what XLNC is doing, because we are continuing to grow, and it's amazing to see all of your support, and we love you all. Thank you. We will be back with game 3. The night is not over. The hype is just accelerating and beginning. Don't touch that browser, because we have a finals match to follow up right after this. We'll be right back.